Key to Living Like an Immortal. Part 1. Thinking Like an Immortal. Now that the world has been battling with COVID-19, it may cause us to feel that human life is short and fragile. This is especially the case in the countries and places that have been more heavily affected by it. To battle the virus since 2020, some recommendations have been to take precautionary measures such as wear masks and gloves, carry around hand sanitizer and tissue, take lots of vitamins, and lock ourselves indoors or self-isolate the best way we can. The long period of self-isolation causes us to feel like we lost a sense of freedom, and that our lives are on hold. Different people react to the virus in different ways. Some people are overly cautious or paranoid about the virus. Every time they get back home from somewhere, they will go so far as to spray their hair, all their clothes, and entire bodies with alcohol or sanitizer. Others are in denial and act as if they are invincible to it by going to crowded public places without masks. Some people feel a cloud of depression and deal with a lack of motivation to continue their previous endeavors or daily routines that they had before the outbreak. This might cause people to fall back into old addictions. There are those that view it as a long holiday or break and aren't concerned about the possible effects of the virus by only focusing on the things that they never had time to do before. Then, there are the ones that are strongly affected because they themselves got the virus or know someone who got it. When we see that people are in serious pain and even die from the virus, we are faced with our own immortality. When we have to stare at our own immortality directly in the face, it scares us. The way we react to the fear that this virus causes depends on our personality. We can be paranoid. We can be in denial. We can be depressed. We can even be reckless about it. And we can even try to escape our current reality. All of these things cause us to lose our sense of self. What if I told you there is another way to approach a virus that, as of yet, still has no cure? Instead of looking at the virus through the eyes of a mortal, why not learn how to view life through the eyes of an immortal? What if I told you that there were some enlightened masters in ancient times that were able to overcome all the limitations of being immortal by mastering their thoughts? Have you ever contemplated being or becoming an immortal? It's not a completely crazy or off-the-wall idea. Many Taoist masters thought about this through the ages. However, you may not know anything about being a Taoist, and much less about being a master. Instead, you may find yourself trapped in a mortal body that's battling an illness, disease, or health issue. What tools or wisdom might be available to you? There is an idea in Chinese literature about a term called a banished immortal. I learned this in my Asian literature class when I was in college, that Li Bai, one of the two most famous Chinese poets in history, was known as Zhe Xian, the banished immortal. A banished immortal is an immortal that has been punished because of a bad deed by being sent to Earth to live life as a mortal. We are all here on Earth to learn important lessons in this school of life. So, in a way, we are all banished immortals. Banished immortals usually remember life subconsciously as an infinite, multi-dimensional being, so it is difficult for them to understand and adapt to how things on Earth work, like being bound to a physical body and experiencing limitations. Li Bai, being the banished immortal that he was, had a deep desire for a higher, more perfect world. Our body is mortal, but our spirit is not. Once we realize that our spirits are not bound by the limitations of our body and put that into practice, we are no longer controlled by the limitations of our body. This is the key to living life as an immortal, to be able to think and live life as one. Thinking healthy promotes healthy actions and decisions. Finding ways to balance the mind, body, and spirit is the ultimate way to maintain good health. There are different routes to accomplish this. One way that the masters of ancient China did this was through meditation and alchemy. Living and thinking like an immortal is what alchemy is all about. Key to living like an immortal. Part 2. Living like an immortal through Neidan. In ancient China, Chinese Taoists practiced a form of alchemy. Chinese alchemy consisted of inner alchemy, or Neidan, and outer alchemy, or Weidan. Outer alchemy, or Weidan, was the process of making elixirs by combining different natural materials, such as minerals, and some metals together by heating them in a crucible. Elixirs were used to improve health, and many were made in an attempt to achieve immortality. Weidan is the father of traditional Chinese medicine, and alchemy is the predecessor of today's modern science. Despite the benefits of herbal and natural medicine, the practice of finding effective methods in health in Weidan was through trial and error. So, there were many elixirs of life in ancient times that could actually be dangerous to your health. Very few people, according to legends, were said to actually achieve immortality through the consumption of elixirs. However, taking care of oneself and the use of traditional Chinese medicine was able to prolong life. With that being said, this article will reveal that inner alchemy, or Neidan, could be the key to ultimate health and even immortality. Both inner and outer alchemists utilize processes that focus on purification. Many alchemists practiced outer alchemy by transmuting base metals into gold through alchemical processes. However, inner alchemists focused on purifying the spirit by immersing themselves into the source, or Tao. This could be done through years of meditation and qi, or energy work. So why is energy work necessary to health? Taoists believe that everyone is made up of three invisible forces called Jing, Qi, and Shen. Your Jing is the part of you that is made from the combination of your parents' genetic makeup. It's a part of your DNA. It makes up your personality, and it determines certain inherited physical traits and health issues. Qi is your life force energy that helps you breathe and be an animate living being. The more qi you can consume and store, the healthier you will be. You can gain more qi through proper exercise by eating healthy, having a good rest, by sleeping, and by meditation. Shen is your spirit, which is where your inner power comes from. It is the source of your wisdom and your spiritual compass in life. Shen is fed and grows by collecting qi in your qi banks or dantian. If you don't have enough qi, your Shen, the spirit, shrinks and weakens. Inner alchemy is the art of knowing how to expand and illuminate your spirit by returning to the fundamental order of the cosmos. Energy work also expands the heart and mind centers. To prepare the heart, one only needs to clear the mind and mix their heart fire with kidney water in the pot of their middle dantian. For ultimate health, there must be harmony or balance between your heart and your kidney. In Chinese medicine, many illnesses are caused by too much heating or cooling in the body. The warming function of the heart promotes blood circulation and helps regulate most of the overall functions of the body. Your heart contains yang qi and shen, so it is represented by fire. The kidney regulates water metabolism, respiration, blood generation, reproductive functions, and growth. So the kidney fluids are represented by water. The water of the kidney cools the heart fire to help it not become too overactive. The heart fire warms the kidney water so it doesn't cause too much cooling of the body. The heart fire and kidney water can be represented by the Li and Kan trigrams from the 8 trigrams of the Ba Gua. An imbalance or disharmony between Li and Kan in the body can cause emotional problems that lead to insomnia and anxiety disorders. Master Gu, from the Wudang Mountains in the northwestern corner of Hubei province, China, talks about energy work through sitting meditation. When you sit down cross-legged, with your back straight, squeeze your abdomen and your buttocks muscles as you take a deep breath in. This forces your breath and your energy to move upwards through your meridians. Your kidney water moves upwards as well. When you breathe out, everything moves back down, and your heart fire meets your kidney water in the middle dantian. The middle dantian is considered the emotional center of energy. When you do meditation, it releases all the negative energy and tension in your body. Joe Dispenza, in his book Becoming Supernatural, talks about a similar type of meditation. As you release more negative emotions and energy in your body, you are able to increase in illumination. Conditioning your mind also helps increase your ability to illuminate yourself. To prepare the mind, one only needs to expand their consciousness through finding the truth or wisdom in information. One of the books from ancient China that gives insight on how to prepare your mind by changing your thoughts was called the Tao Te Ching. Key to Living Like an Immortal. Part 3. Transcending Birth and Death. Dr. Wayne Dyer wrote a book called Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, based on the wisdom of the Tao. His book also has a unique English translation of this ancient Chinese classic, as well as his personal reflections on the meaning of each verse. He also gives additional insights or advice about how to apply this ancient Chinese wisdom to your life. There are additional sections after Dr. Dyer's explanation of each verse, containing advice and some self-reflective or meditative exercises. Their purpose is to help you figure out how to turn your new thoughts into action, to to see changes in your life, you will have to do a lot of inner work on yourself. This may include spending a lot of time to examine your strengths and weaknesses, to observe your daily interactions with people, to understand what causes you to have negative or positive feelings, and to realize how you usually respond or react to events in your life. The follower of the Tao must learn to feel inner peace and tranquility, and also adopt a more balanced approach to life. Reading this book is a great guide in helping you learn how not to let all the obstacles, problems, challenges, and drama of daily life get you down. This is the first step to a spiritual transformation and a basic introduction on how alchemy can benefit you. As you read this book, you will begin to notice synchronicities all around you. You will amazingly find that personal events start coinciding with the lessons you are learning at the time. During the COVID-19 outbreak and my self-quarantine at home, I came across the 50th verse of the Tao. The 50th verse goes like this.
50th verse of the Tao Te Ching. Between birth and death, 3 in 10 are followers of life. 3 in 10 are followers of death, and men just passing from birth to death also number 3 in 10. But there is 1 out of 10 who is so sure of life that tigers and wild bulls keep clear. Weapons turn from him on the battlefield. Rhinoceroses have no place to horn him. Tigers find no place for claws. And soldiers have no place to thrust their blades. Why is this so? Because he dwells in that place where death cannot enter. Realize your essence, and you will witness the end without ending.
Lao Tzu chose to share his wisdom with us in paradoxes. They can seem perplexing to decode at first. That's why the book, Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, is a must-have if you are interested in being a modern pupil or disciple of Lao Tzu. You also don't have to be Chinese to adopt his wisdom into your personal belief system. Lao Tzu, in his 50th verse of the Tao, talks about 3 types of mentalities that most people generally have between the spectrum of birth and death. Then he talks about a rarer 4th mentality that can lead a person to become a master by transcending the spectrum or cycle of birth and death. In other words, the master alchemist is able to transcend space and time by producing an inner elixir or substance of qi through the controlling of their mind, breath, and posture. To transcend, you also need to come to the mental realization that you are not your life, and you do not end with death. Life is just your entry into your virtual earth world, and death is just your exit. Start making the concept of being an immortal a part of your whole being and every cell. It will give you the strength that you need to overcome many difficult situations. Between birth and death is the first line. Shakespeare once said, "To be or not to be, that is the question." If Shakespeare was inspired by Lao Tzu, he would have said, "To live or not to live." It would be Lao Tzu's way of asking you, will you choose to be a follower of life or of death? 3 in 10 are the followers of life. My interpretation of the followers of life that Lao Tzu describes are the people who are the keepers, preservers, and protectors of their lives. If they are successful at protecting themselves, well, they can live to old age. They seek long life and longevity, so they try to be good stewards of their bodies. They refrain from doing things that could be detrimental to their health in the long run, such as excessive smoking and drinking. Followers of life are cautious in their footsteps and are careful about where they go, and they won't participate in activities that could be considered unsafe. These types of people plan in advance and will prepare for a long journey ahead, or what they might need just in case of an emergency. During the coronavirus outbreak, followers of life may stock their homes with everything they need and willingly participate in self-quarantine. They will keep up religiously with new data and articles being published about the situation, and make a plan on how to keep themselves from contracting the virus. Followers of life may seem like they could be worried or even fearful about the virus, but they actually have strong faith in their ability to protect themselves. They put their protection in their own hands, or in the hands of a higher power, and use their own common sense or gut as a source of direction. 3 in 10 are followers of death, is the next line. The followers of death are known as the risk takers. Risk takers may seem fearless to an observer, but some can also be reckless as well. Could their fearlessness actually be denial or a lack of wisdom? They ignore or are not aware of the negative effects that their actions could have on themselves or others, such as possibly exposing others to an illness like COVID-19. Followers of death during the midst of COVID-19 may be those that test chance by continuing to go to crowded areas or public places without using little to no protection, such as hand sanitizer or a mask. Some of them may go as far as ignoring safety precautions and important information from their local authorities, health specialists, and scientists. Followers of death do not realize or think about the consequences for their actions, so they are more likely to die young. And men just passing from birth to death also number 3 in 10. People who pass from birth to death are those that cling to their life. This line of the Tao Te Ching coincides with John 12:25 in the Bible. If you love your life, you will lose it. If you give it up in this world, you will be given eternal life. People passing from birth to death will choose to live life to the fullest, or try to make the best of life in every moment. They may also be influenced by worldly pleasures, entertainment, and scratching off things to do on their bucket list. Their great passion of life may also lead them to great riches, power, and success. This will lead them to work hard, but may also play hard as well. The reason why they feel the need to work so hard to gain is because they subconsciously and obsessively focus on getting rid of all traces of possible lack. People passing from birth to death make many of their decisions based on filling voids in their lives. Some can possibly be over-excessive and indulgent in what they want rather than what they actually need. They become addicted and attached to their desires until they create an illusion that what they desire is actually what they need. According to traditional Eastern thought, less is actually more. The more you have, the more you are afraid to lose, which creates non-flexibility and limitations in your life. This causes people to become stuck in their voids, and their obsession with gain versus lack can lead many people to drown themselves in addictions, unhealthy habits, and dangerous pursuits if they happen to fail at getting rid of their lack. The constant feeling of lack causes imbalances, health problems, depression, and fear. Choices based on endless fear can possibly lead to death. So, Men passing from birth to death live longer than the followers of death, but die faster than the followers of life. Those who moved from the life mentality to the death mentality in 2020 would be the ones who overstocked on supplies during this time due to paranoia. Or they put their endeavors and pleasure-seeking before their safety and health.
Is it possible that you become more aligned with your immortal self when you become less consumed with the material, the external, or what is going on the outside of you, and more consumed with the spiritual, the internal, or what is going on inside of you?
Key to living like an immortal. Part 4. Connect to your core like a master. But there is 1 out of 10 who is so sure of life that tigers and wild bulls keep clear. Weapons turn from him on the battlefield. Rhinoceroses have no place to horn him. Tigers find no place for claws. And soldiers have no place to thrust their blades. This 1 out of 10 so sure of life are the alchemists. They seem to be the rare ancient Chinese masters of the mystery schools that Stuart Wilde mentions in his writings and audio recordings. The audio recording that most supports these lines of the Tao is called Infinite Self, 33 Steps to Reclaiming Your Inner Power. The lesson of reclaiming your power will be a repeating theme or a major message from spiritual teachers within the coming years. It will be useful in understanding how to deal with situations that cause fear, such as the worldwide fear caused by COVID-19. This audio recording can be found on YouTube. I encourage you to listen to this audio in its entirety because it speaks about living like a master. Why is this so? Because he dwells in that place where death cannot enter. A person who prepares well can lessen their chances of getting the virus, but still has a chance of getting it. A person who is not cautious can raise their chances of getting it, but still has a chance of not being affected by it. So, actions alone are not enough to determine who will be affected by it and who won't be. Actions are something that is external. The Master knows that we are connected to everything in the universe, so we can even compare ourselves to Earth. Earth has an inner core and an outer core. The inner core stabilizes Earth during its rotation and also supports the outer core. This is similar to how some tall skyscrapers have a giant ball or damper in its center to help stabilize it during earthquakes. No matter how powerful the earthquake is, the damper helps the building remain balanced. Earth's inner core helps stabilize its outer core, which is protected by Earth's magnetic fields. The magnetic field helps protect Earth from deadly cosmic rays. You can think of things like COVID-19 as a deadly cosmic ray trying to weaken Earth. The Master knows that what is happening in the inside of yourself affects what happens all around you. This is the second law of the universe, according to the 7 Hermetic principles of the Kybalion, the principle of correspondence. As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul.
The alchemist knows to find and connect to his or her inner core or subconscious mind. This is so that the alchemist can immune himself or herself to what is happening all around his or her outer core.
Basically, if you can figure out how to stay connected or plugged into your inner core, you can also protect yourself from external dangers. Strengthening your inner core, which is a process of conditioning your mind, body, and spirit to no longer be ruled by the ego, fear, strengthens your own magnetic field. It helps you gain stronger chi and vibrate at a higher frequency. Vibration has to do with the third law of the universe, called the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The reason why some masters had the ability to escape death was because death and other lower frequency events that caused harm could not exist in a field of higher frequency. Since the universe is mental, the master practiced mental transmutation. Through the power of will, the master changed his vibration by focusing on a more desirable state of mind. He cultivated and grew that state of mind until it resulted in the highest frequencies seen in man. Change your mental state, change your vibration. Whatever you focus on the most in life grows, so it is better to focus on positive thoughts instead of negative ones. The best thing to do is focus on connecting with your inner core. Your inner core represents the philosopher's stone in alchemy. Alchemy consists of heating and washing away the impure and hard layers of metal, which also can represent your ego. That is why someone who is hard-headed can be said to have a big ego. Eventually, from washing away the impurities inside yourself caused by the ego, you get to the inner core of your being, which can be represented as gold or silver. Alchemists aim to turn metals into gold as well as penetrating the ego to get to their inner core or inner being. The final result of the process is called the Philosopher's Stone. I'm not claiming to be a master of alchemy by no means. I am just a seeker of the truth, trying to figure out the path to self-mastery, and want to share what I know with others so they can start their journey as well. We all develop at different intervals or different stages and times of our life. I can share this knowledge with you, and you can eventually end up being one step closer to mastery than me. You still may be asking at this point, why can't death affect a master of life? The answer is that the master exits when he is ready for a transformation or a new beginning. According to the master, death is a type of transformative change where his essence or inner being chooses to leave the body in order to prepare for a new form of existence. The master is not ruled by changes such as death, because he does not fear changes such as death. This type of mentality causes the master to be protected or be free from many misfortunes. 33 is a master number and was the sacred number of the masters of these mystery schools. These masters of legend had a frequency that was extremely high. Wherever they traveled, violence, danger, disease, mental problems, famine, negativity, and other types of trouble all disappeared. The change was so sudden and so subtle that no one realized the change in energy was coming from the master. A master of mysticism was different from a kung fu master because there was never a need for a mystic master to fight. However, Bruce Lee once said in his film, "Enter the Dragon," the real master can actually fight without fighting. Check out how Bruce Lee fights without fighting in this scene from the film. Pay attention to how Bruce Lee responds to an ignorant man challenging him. This was Bruce Lee's chance to show his power and his skills in fighting. Instead of taking the man up on his challenge, he lets go. A kung fu master with a huge ego would have jumped at the chance for a fight to spread the word that he was the best and the most unbeatable master in China and possibly the world. Letting go of the challenge allowed Bruce Lee to defeat the man without touching him, and also allowed him to teach the challenger an important lesson. A master is able to find humor with the challenges of other men and of life. He wins by not being affected by the challenge, as well as the challenger due to his ability to let go of the situation. He doesn't get beat up, nor does he beat up others, because he finds another way to win. Fighting without fighting relates to the fifth law of the universe, or the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. This means that there is a natural rhythm from one pole to another, or a cycle between good and bad. After the good comes the bad, and after the bad comes the good. If you can maintain a sense of inner peace and a bit of humor, it gives you the ability to steadily flow with the rhythm, the beats, or even dance with life instead of fighting against it. When something bad begins to challenge you, you may be able to block it from affecting you, or even make it disappear by giving it what it doesn't expect: a large dose of high frequency. Bruce Lee's challenger didn't expect that he would be defeated by cleverness, good humor, and lots of laughter. Key to living like an immortal. Part 5. Illuminate yourself to immortality. Realize your essence, and you will witness the end without ending. So, what is the reason for the Master's great power? The reason was because this Master was aware of his infinite self and the inner power of his essence or core being. He knew that he wasn't his physical body, and that the world that we know is just an illusion. Our immortal spirit and the essence of the Tao are inside of every one of us. Staying connected to the Tao gives all things in the universe life and power. When we lose connection with the Tao, our spirit dwindles in illumination and size. Then we forget who we are and lose our power to protect and heal ourselves. Your next question may be, how can you stay connected to your infinite and immortal self? Spend more time learning about inner alchemy. Spend time in meditation and learning about other ways to stay healthy and balanced. There are 3 steps to Taoist meditation and inner alchemy. The first step is being able to clear your mind, or letting go of all thoughts that interrupt the flow of energy. The second step is to focus your mind on your body and where the energy is flowing. Knowing how to control the energy in your body is important for self-healing. Learning activities such as yoga and pranayama, or tai chi and qigong, Chinese yoga and breath control, are beneficial in the next stage of meditation. The third stage of meditation is about knowing how to look inside of yourself to see what is holding you back from your infiniteness. When negative events happen in our lives, or we experience something that we perceive to be negative, we create negative thoughts about it. These negative thoughts release negative chemicals in the brain, or negative feelings within ourselves, such as stress, sadness, anxiety, depression, fear, etc. These negative feelings can also be understood as different types of negative energy. Sometimes this negative energy gets trapped in the body if we didn't have the chance to resolve them. Sometimes we don't realize that we never resolved our feelings, and the negative energy from an event stays in our body for a long time. During the third stage of meditation, sometimes random thoughts or feelings about the past and the present still seep through during your energy work. At this point, you don't focus on the negative thought or try to analyze it. Acknowledge it and let the thought flow through your mind.
A negative thought that occurs in the third stage of meditation may be a clue to what you need to release from your body. After you finish meditating, you can begin the releasing process by examining these events and figure out what you need to learn from them. What negative thought popped into your mind during meditation? Did you have an argument with someone recently or in the past and feel negative energy from that? Why did you argue with that person? Did it cause anger or guilt? Maybe to release the negative energy, you have to forgive that person or ask for forgiveness. Maybe you even need to forgive yourself for something. You may find that your inability to forgive and say you are sorry could be something that is holding you back from connecting with the Tao. Sometimes during meditation, you can experience random thoughts of fear for no reason, maybe about COVID-19. If that is the case, keep reminding yourself that you are an infinite being who can't be trapped or weighed down by fear or by COVID-19. Personal advice: during quarantine or times of self-isolation, try to find or figure out how to connect with your inner essence and how to illuminate yourself. Realize that no matter how powerful a person can be or how devastating an event can seem, nothing can take away your inner power unless you allow it to happen. Here is a visualization technique that might help. I first heard about it from one of Hans Wilhelm's YouTube videos. Imagine the inside of your body as a river, and the negative energy and feelings from different negative events or memories in your life as stones of different sizes blocking the flow of the water. Focus on one negative memory that caused a lot of negative energy and feelings, especially one that still haunts you sometimes. Think about what you need to do to resolve those negative feelings. You may need to change your thoughts about an event, or you might need to forgive and forget. If you are not able to do something about it through your actions, you can imagine yourself doing something about it. Imagine yourself saying sorry to someone, or imagine yourself conquering fear in a funny way. Then visualize a stone dissipating or breaking down, or being washed away by the water. The stone may dissipate into positive energy, or you may see it as a polished stone or pearl that enhances your chi instead of blocking it. The more stones you dissipate or change into beautiful pearls, the more you are able to become a master alchemist and live like an immortal. Do the Tao now, and learn how to think like a Taoist master by reading Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Dr. Wayne Dyer. Remember, the first step to becoming a master is by changing your thoughts and overcoming fear. After you read this book, share your personal experience about how this book has changed your life. When you connect with your inner essence, you are able to illuminate yourself with love and light.
Hi, Illuminate here, helping you connect to your core and to illuminate yourself. If you enjoyed watching my video, please click the like button or hit subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. 感谢你看我的视频，下次再见，爱你哟。